And you're listening to what my mom calls the greatest show on earth. I'm Christopher Story, your host for Great Adventures in the Last Frontier. David Webb's your engineer and producer back up at the mothership of KPEN FM 102. TBC Radio brings you this portion of the program and the word of the week. How appropriate that we've got our word of the week time just ahead of introducing you to Connie Myers, author, speaker, coach. Got a new book coming out tomorrow called Crystalline Moments. I'll introduce you to Connie in just one moment. But first, your TBC Radio word of the week. All right, now, TBC Radio can put your business right here on these airwaves here at KPEN in Homer or Kodiak on the island, whatever you want. Call Josiah. Discuss how to put your small business on the radio with TBC Radio 486 0210 486 0210. TBC Radio, effective and affordable. Target your customers in Homer or Kodiak on TBC Radio 486 0210. Here's your TBC word of the week. Tautology. Oh, I know you're going to use this later today. Tautology. That's right. The definition of tautology is the saying of the same thing twice in different words, generally considered to be a fault of style. For example, they arrived one after the other in succession. I love it. I'm going to I use tautology in my life. I love over-explaining something. I love redundancy. All right, here's how Seth Godin used it actually in his blog today, which is where I discovered the word. Do you ever do that? You read a word and then you look it up and you go, wait a minute, I don't know what that word means. I do not like leaving the scene of a page without understanding every word on it. So I saw the word tautology, Tautology, and I said, I don't know what it means. So I went and I looked it up. Well, here's how Seth Godin used it in his blog today. Most people can't go first. Most people don't want to go last. Most people do what most people do. That's obvious. A tautology. I like that. TBC Radio making you smarter here on Alaska Matters Radio. Tautology, your word of the week. So Connie Myers is my guest. And as this happened, a friend of mine is in the National Association of Realtors in Idaho, and she wrote praise for this book by Connie Myers. The book is called Crystalline Moments. I saw this through social media, and I said, well, that's interesting. I went and I looked up Connie Myers' website, which, by the way, is ConnieMyers.com, ConnieMyers.com, ConnieMyers.com. And I read more about Connie, and I said, Connie is somebody I would like to meet. I want to get a copy of the book. I want to know more about you. Welcome to the program, Connie Myers. Thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Now, I did mention earlier that your book comes out tomorrow, and I want to find out everywhere people can go and get the book. But let's back up just a minute. This is not your first book. You've written, one or two previous books to this?
I've written one other real book. The other one was a little book called Coffeeology. It was like a little booklet when the coffee craze first came out. And the other book was on sales, on how to make the bells ring.
Nice. Okay.
And it was how to make the phone ring.
Oh, I like that. That actually sounds like another conversation we should have. I love it. Well, first of all, Connie, tell me a little bit about you, because what I know is, and it's what I've read on your website, is that, I mean, you had a real change of life moment a couple different times in your life. One, when you were 10 years old, you had an illness that set you back for months. What happened when you were 10 years old?
I had a very rare kidney disease that I had in my entire life. And I'd been in and out of hospitals, and my mom worked for Baldwin Manufacturing in Kearney, Nebraska. They had a big birthday party for me for my 10th birthday. And the Baldwins were big donors for the Mayo Clinic. So the biggest birthday present I got was a trip to the Mayo Clinic to make me well. And it was a rare form of kidney disease. I actually only had to spend one night in the hospital there. And while I was there, I was in the hospital room with another young girl. She had the same disease I did, but she was a couple years older, so her disease was a little more advanced. And she had no use of her. She couldn't use her arm, her speech, her bodily functions, nothing. A couple years later, she died. And in that moment, I can even, to this day, I'm 66 now, to this day, I can tell you what the room smelled like. I can tell you what it looked like. and I can remember the conversation. And during that time, sometime in my 10-year-old head, I'm not quite sure how it happened, I thought, I have to be really, really good because I'm being given a gift, and I have to be really kind to others. Well, in writing my book, what I discovered was that that moment that moment that sticks in your head, there's always a moment of clarity that comes with that. And then there's something that can be done. Well, that moment actually created a life where I was always doing for others. My friends and family will tell you that it's to a fault. And what I discovered in really looking at this is I wasn't doing it out of love and giving. I was actually doing it out of fear. We all have these moments where something happens and we can go back in time, or it could be happening to us right now. And it could be something really positive, like a euphoric moment, or it could be something as devastating as an illness or a death or abuse, that sort of thing. But that moment stuck with me for 56 years.
And you call that a crystalline moment. Is that a term that you've coined?
Crystalline is, if you define crystalline, Webster Dictionary defines it as crystal clear or sparkly. And so crystal clear is like a moment of clarity. It's like, and every one of us have them in our lives. So it's just a moment of clarity where you go, aha. But instead of it just being an aha moment, there is an action behind it that creates something that we're doing. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, me being extra kind to, or going out of my way to do things for others. I'm known for bringing in strays, both people, the four-legged kind and the two-legged kind. And so it's an action that follows. It is the moment when you have that moment of clarity, and then the opportunity that comes from that.
And you said, Connie, that you're kind to a fault. Do you mean by that to say that you forget to be kind to yourself? In other words, you put yourself last?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now that I've written the book, though, I actually catch myself doing that. And I'm not saying I'm not still kind and nice with people, but I do catch myself saying, okay, I need to be thinking about myself as well. Mm-hmm. And that's really the lesson in all of this.
And in all of this, of course, my guest, Connie Myers, the book is called Crystalline Moments. I've been saying Crystalline Moments. And it's 3 moments that affected your life. So that's one. At 10 years of age, you realized that you, would you say you had a calling or just an awareness that you are here to be kind to others?
I don't even know how I defined it at 10. Mm-hmm. Actually, one of the other really, really major moments that has affected my life even bigger was when I got back from the Mayo Clinic, and I went to a one-room schoolhouse in Nebraska. And I had 9 kids in the school besides me. I had to get up in front of the school and give a story report. Well, being sick, I was very timid and shy and didn't like people. I got up, I gave a terrible story report. And I sat down, the teacher stands up and she says, do you know who has the highest IQ in the school and who just gave the worst story report? What that said to me is that I would never be good enough. Whatever accolades or whatever praise I got, I would never be good enough. So in my sales career, I was Rookie of the Year for Metropolitan Life Insurance many years ago, and I've always been very successful in sales and marketing. But I never felt that I deserved the accolades. So that created a life of a true workaholic, 70 or 80 hours a week. And that the more praise I got, the more I thought I had to work. And I think there's a lot of people out there that have had that similar kind of experience.
Wow. And have you had moments such as this that you may or may not have defined as a crystalline moment? And at age 62, what happened in Connie's life that led to maybe what we'll find out to be the third moment that affected her life forever, and which might actually put this very book in your hands, Crystalline Moments? I'm Chris Story, along with Connie Myers. We're on Alaska Matters Radio. I hope you'll stick around. More to come right after this.
We could see the sun when we were young and raw, and it looked so small. Now we know that it's not. Well, our deception was strong and we got big and tall. So we made our plans, and like warriors we fought and thought we'd conquer them all. We might be the ones who catch us all the stars.
I want to thank Napa Auto Parts here in Homer for making this portion of the program possible. You know, they've got a huge, as Donald Trump would say, a huge sale going on right now. Oh, they do every month. You just got to get your hands on that sale flyer and figure out what you need that's on it. And I guarantee there's something, I don't know, floor jacks, car batteries, oil, filters. And don't forget, if you buy your windshield wipers from Napa Auto Parts in Homer, they'll install them for free. And I take advantage of that myself. Great people at Napa. And I'm going to remind you, they are locally owned. That means something. That means something to me. It means a great deal to me, and it ought to you as well. Support your local businesses by shopping at Napa Auto Parts in Homer. It's not big corporate. They bring you the Napa prices and the Napa products at the best prices possible, but they are local. Kevin and Courtney Kyle, thank you for supporting this program, and we thank you for supporting Napa Auto Parts here in Homer. I'm talking with Connie Myers, author, speaker, coach. The new book coming out tomorrow all across the country is called Crystalline Moments. And Connie, where's the book going to be released? Can people buy it online or through your site? Where will it be available?
It's going to be available on Amazon, but they can go to my website. They can actually go straight to the page for Crystalline Moments. It's just www.crystallinemoments.com. They also can go to my Facebook page, and when the product is, or the book is actually launched, there will be a link directly to Amazon so they can purchase the book that way.
Okay, terrific. So what we know so far about you, Connie, aside from the fact that you're an overachieving go-giver who forgets to put yourself anywhere into the equation, author, speaker, coach, and so forth, and you're past your 10-year-old mark where you've recovered from your illness. You then get the news that, in your own mind, anyway, the way you interpreted it, you're never going to be good enough, so you'll always have to try to overachieve and outdo everybody and try to meet some unattainable, I don't know, image in your own mind that you'll never get to. And now, fast forward, what's the third event or moment that, to you, was that moment of clarity?
It was March 2011 when my husband passed. And when he passed, he'd been sick for about 6 months. And when he passed, and I tried to go back to that old life, it wouldn't work. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience whenever I would try to do anything. And I realized that the old life that I knew was gone. So now what do I do with my new life? And I started really searching, and I started putting down all the things I would love to do. And in the meantime, I had to decide. We had 2 homes, one in Portland, Oregon, and one in Las Vegas. And I had to decide whether or not I was going to live in Vegas or Portland. Well, my dream home was in Portland. My company was in Portland. The grandkids were in Portland. But I had spent the last 6 months of my husband's life with him in Las Vegas. So I woke up one morning. It was like I'd been going back and forth for months, 9 months. And I woke up a Thursday morning at 6 o'clock, and the decision was made. I was going to stay in Las Vegas. What that created was a huge, and I talk about it in the book, that sometimes it causes chaos before the actual opportunity shows up, because I ended up losing the company that I had been a part of. I actually gave it up, and I gave up the job that I loved. I ended up giving up my dream home, 90% of my possessions. So what I discovered is once you get down to the bare core of nothing, and you start rebuilding, and you start really thinking about what your life is supposed to be about, those crystalline moments were all created for me to find the life of my dreams. And if somebody would have said to me in March of 2011 that I was going to write a book, I would have said they were crazy. I didn't think I was capable of writing. And now, tomorrow, the book comes out, and I've just had such amazing people come into my life to help me with this. It's just, once you find your core, and once you look into those crystalline moments and you find the opportunities, then the universe just provides what you need, and you can create the life you absolutely love, which is what I've done.
And getting to that core that you just spoke of, Connie, I can't help but wonder, as I read on your site, it says you already possess, you have the tools, and you already possess the tools to live your life by design instead of by default. So if we take that line and couple it with something you said earlier, which was through writing the book, you recognized these moments. In other words, you didn't at 10 years old design consciously your life or recognize, oh, this is that moment. You're saying through a process of retrospective, sort of introspective looking backwards, you recognize these moments. Because I know, I can just guess that if I read this book, I'm going to read probably other people's stories as well. And I'm going to look back in my own life and go, oh, and start to cherry pick and pick these moments. And I think that's the real power here, is that maybe anybody can look back and start to take control of these moments, as you've outlined in your book.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, what I've done is I've created a Crystalline Moments toolkit that people can download for free when they purchase the book, that actually takes them through the steps to start defining and aligning with the crystalline moments they've had and find the opportunities that are in them.
Cool. I like that. That's good. I like that. And tell me a little bit more about what it means to design your life instead of default. So a life by design rather than default. You had that most recent moment in 2011 when you lost your husband, and then you defined it as such. I mean, or designed your life then. Did you say, oh, I want to be a writer? Or kind of take us through the sequence of what happened after that?
Well, it's kind of interesting. We all have conditions and circumstances that come into our lives, and we feed into those rather than really sitting back and saying, okay, what do I really want to do with my life? And it was through some associates, some friends of mine that are coaches, and they said, you really need to sit down and think about what it is that you really want to do now that you can't do what you used to do. And the first thing I had to do is I had to come up with a new life philosophy, because work, a little bit of play didn't work anymore. So my new philosophy, it was a crystalline moment. It came to me: have fun, give back, make money, in that order. And once I decided that was my new philosophy, and I started talking to people about all these things that were happening to me, I had several people tell me, you ought to write a book. And I got to thinking about it, and then I started doing some research on actually the words crystalline moments were actually a crystalline moment all into itself, because a friend of mine was going through something, and she said the phrase crystalline moment, which was something that a minister of hers called these aha moments. And I started researching it on Google and found that anytime there's positive ones, like a euphoric moment where you feel like you're one with the universe. There's a story about a man on a motorcycle. That once you start having those moments and you start listening to that inner voice, all of a sudden things start to happen. And I have been following a woman for many, many, many years named Mary Morrissey, and she had these. She sent out these inspirational messages every morning. Well, along with that, she started sending out these messages about coaching. And so in addition to start doing the research on the book, I thought, well, I need to do something where I'm going to make some money as well. And one day, one of these emails just kind of came out of the computer and slapped me in the face. And I said, could I really be a life coach? First I said yes, and I thought, what do I know about being a life coach? Well, I spent 30 plus years helping other people in sales and marketing have successful careers and businesses. So what the really message is once you start really analyzing what the opportunities are that those moments of clarity have, that the universe will just start providing for you.
It's
and
interesting.
If you're really in alignment by design. I mean, and that's what by design means, rather than a good way to put it is you have 525,600 minutes in a year. And you can look at that year as a book, or you can actually look at your life as a book. And all the pages before the page you're on are filled with stuff. And all the pages on the right are blank. And you can say how those pages are going to be written, or you can let all the circumstances and situations write those pages for you. So that's kind of what it means to be by design rather than default.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I was going to say, I think it's interesting, too, that here you've been coaching for the 30 plus years that you were in sales and marketing. That's effectively what you were doing. And here you had one of these crystalline moments where you recognized, oh, yeah, I can do that and call it. coaching and get paid for it. I think it's fantastic. I cannot wait to read the book, Crystalline Moments. Connie Myers, the author, ConnieMeyers.com. That's also the website. Get to know Connie. Connie, thank you so much, and I wish you all the best with this book and just a real inspiration.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. There's also 12 other stories about amazing people, everything from somebody that won a $34 million lottery to a woman who lost 2 children, one to suicide. So there's lots of good stuff in there.
Well, I thank you, Connie. Can't wait to read it. Thank you for your time, and best of luck with your book launch tomorrow, okay?
Thank you very much, and thanks so much for having me. You have a great day there in Homer.
All right, we'll do it. It's a great day every day in Homer, Alaska. That's the beauty of living here in paradise. Hey, I'm Chris Story. Dave Webb and I will be right back here on Alaska Matters Radio.
Where we live, we got clear blue skies. Where we live, we got tall old trees. Where we live, we're the only ones who live there. Where we live, so we do mostly as we please. Where we live, we don't have too many laws. Where we live, the forest is our yard. Where we live, it's so quiet too.